Hello Internet, I am Caythorne, and welcome to my channel where I have played through all of the Nancy Drew games, every single one of them, officially now, well except for the dossiers. Forgot there's dossiers. When I was looking up to see if anyone had already created like a tier thing with all the Nancy Drew games, so I didn't have to go through and make it myself. A bunch of them were like, including dossier, or no dossier, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot there's dossier games. There's a mosquito in my office as well. Don't land on my monitor, man. I think I got it. I'm sorry, that was probably a really loud clap. I got it. Yeah. Mosquitoes have been a nightmare. So I've got my thing currently blocking a really obnoxious ad on this site, whatever. You can't escape the ads. And to be honest, I've never done like a ranking thing before, so I was just like, where can I find this? Where should I go? The ads changed now. Of course, it's PetSmart. I'm okay with PetSmart. I have 4 animals. So yeah, so I just found this ranking thing already in existence. It's Nancy Drew games with no dossier, so I should be able to take these images and drag them where I want them to be. So yeah, I hope I can pick out which one's which, because I don't know all the images. I think I see Secrets Can Kill on here twice. It was remastered. Maybe that's because I was like, it has one more than the games. That's what it is. It has Secrets Can Kill twice because it was remastered. And I've played both. I played the original Secrets Can Kill back when it dropped, like, okay, probably not in 98. Probably 2000 or 2001 is probably when I started playing Nancy Drew games. It's my guess. They started being released in 1998. I was still a little too young, but I was reading the book by that point. Because I remember, because 98 would have been first grade for me. I think 99 would have been second grade, and that's when my second grade teacher got really mad at me because I was reading Nancy Drew books, and that was a much higher level of book than I should be reading for a second grader. To which my mother was like, isn't that a good thing? And the teacher was like, I don't care. She's not allowed to read high-level books. She's only allowed to read second grade level books. She was an awful teacher. Second grade teacher was absolutely awful. So I don't know if I was playing the games quite yet. So I want to say it was 2000 or 2001. I know I was in elementary school when I started playing them. So I started playing these from like the early times. It's just once I got into high school and then even more so in college, I fell out of the games, which is why there was quite a few I hadn't played. So I played both Secrets Can Kill. So we're going to rank both, I guess. I'll probably rank both the same. I think the modern one, they added a few features to help you. Like I think they added the notebook and stuff. And the graphics were a little bit better. But Secrets Can Kill was still Secrets Can Kill. Like, it was what it was. They didn't change the story or anything. So we're going to rank these. Again, it's my first time ever doing a ranking video. I don't really know what I'm doing with this. This is my first branch. Like, I finished the Nancy Drew games. This is my first branch off from Nancy Drew games. After this, I think tomorrow, I'm going to start playing Beyond Two Souls and recording that. I go back to work next week. By the time you watch this, I'm already back to work. So things get a little bit more difficult to keep up. And the further I get into the semester, when the students come back and all of that, it'll become even more difficult for me to keep up. Or because of that, I do want to kind of get a little ahead. So Beyond Two Souls, I'm going to start playing that tomorrow. I don't know how long the game is. I don't know how many videos it'll take. So we're branching into something a little different now. But yeah, so ranking. I feel weird because I'm so used to my normal let's jump into the game, but it's not. I also have all of my note cards here that I used. My gigantic stack of note cards. So it's trying to help me remember the games. So I am going to start off by putting on my highest and my lowest, because I already know my highest and my lowest. Game number 13 is the highest for me. I know people will disagree. I've dropped my note cards. I know people will disagree with me on that, but I don't care. In my opinion, Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon, it is S tier. It is top of the top. It is number 1. That is my favorite Nancy Drew game of all time. I'm really trying to pick up my note cards with my feet because, yeah. Which I don't know why. I had my post-op appointment today. I was given permission to bend. I still have lifting restrictions, though. I can't lift more than like 15 pounds for another 2 weeks. You know how frustrating that is? Anyway, so Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon, that is S tier. That is number 1. Why is it number 1? First and foremost, I believe, let me glance through these, but I'm pretty positive that's the first game ever that allowed you to play as another character. It's when they first brought in the Hardy Boys. It's when they first allowed you to play as the Hardy Boys as well. They might have been, I think they were referenced before, but it just made it so much different. And I also love the fact that, like, you're on the train. Now, granted, there is a stop that you have where you can go into town, and there's some things to do in town. But, like, you're limited to that train and to that tiny little town that's practically a ghost town by this point. That is it in the game. There is no big town. There is no all of this other stuff happening. There's another mosquito in my office. But yeah, that's what it is. And also, it kind of ties in with the fact that my favorite Agatha Christie novel is The Orient Express. Murder on the Orient Express is the full title. So, like, it is top tier for me. It is great. I have a blanket. It's not in my office. I should have brought my blanket in my office. But the blanket that I use on a daily basis that is sitting on the couch is Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. So that one's top tier for me. Now, lowest of the low for me, as much as I hate to say this, is going to have to be Midnight in Salem. The reason why is that even though I love the history of the witch trials, I love the history of Salem, I'm really big into reading up on all that, the game itself fell flat. It really didn't have a lot of puzzles. It was just a heavy dialogue, and it was really just do these things in this order to unlock the stuff. You didn't get puzzles till like the very end, and there weren't that many, and it just, as much as the information that you read and that you learned in the game was interesting, the game didn't feel like a game. It was kind of boring. It wasn't, like, I don't mind games that make you just go through a story, but they're games that need to be built that way. Like, there's a game series called the To the Moon series. I love that series. And that series is basically just, you're playing through the story. There's really no puzzles. It's just move through and dialogue and go to these places and do these things, and that's all you're going to do. And I love it. I love the To the Moon series. It's very emotional. It's very connecting. I love it. But it's built to be that way. Like, you know what you're getting into in that game. With Midnight in Salem, like, considering all the previous Nancy Drew games, it just didn't live up. It didn't match the other Nancy Drew games. So I don't mind games that make you play through a story and that's all you're doing, and don't have a bunch of puzzles or anything. But when it's a game in a series that doesn't do that, and then suddenly that's what the game's doing, it's not okay. So yeah, that's my top of the top and bottom of the bottom, and everything else gets balanced in between those two. So I think at this point I'm just going to go from the top, Secrets Can Kill, and work my way through these. So Secrets Can Kill. We technically played this one. I believe, yeah, this one right here, which was the remastered. But it is essentially the same game. I'm pretty sure I have this disc somewhere too. I should have brought out all my discs again. So, I gotta remember all the games. That's why I have my note cards. So Secrets Can Kill, if I remember straight, that is the school. We had to pretend to be a student. We're going to the school. Somebody was killed, I believe. It was a student that was killed. But they left they knew they were going to die, and they left all of these puzzles. Yeah, we had to, like, look up, like, potassium, silver, chlorine, just the table of elements. There was the book under the chair we had to solve. It had some fun puzzles, and it's kind of what started the thing I say at the end of my videos, the don't plagiarize. It just worked out really well to start with that, because I'm also a teacher. But one of the characters in it, the only bad thing they did was plagiarize, which is bad, but they didn't murder. Like, plagiarism and murder, vastly different levels. So, Secrets Can Kill is really good, and it's, being the first game, like, triggering this, starting off the whole Nancy Drew series, it does a really, really good job. And see, the remastered did a pretty good job of upping the level on the graphics and things. So I think I'm gonna have to put that one top tier, S tier, and then the remaster is the A tier here. I'm gonna have to do that, and the reason why is because while the remastered does a very, very good job, it's not the first, and you gotta respect the first. And it does such an amazing job. So Secrets Can Kill up there in S tier. Then we have Stay Tuned for Danger. Stay Tuned for Danger does take place in... This one was really hard to get to play, too, because they haven't remastered it, and they should. But this one takes place at... actually, throughout a town. So does Secrets Can Kill. Secrets Can Kill jumps through a town. But Stay Tuned for Danger takes place through a town. And we are in a TV show production building. And we're trying to figure out who is sending death threats. I forget the actor's name. His name shows up in so many games and I can't remember it, but he's such a jerk. This one was the second game I ever played, not just now, but in my life. And I played it with my best friend. This one, for me, I'm going to have to put an S tier as well. Because to this day, and my best friend and I, we've been friends since first grade, over 25 years at this point. And this was a game that really kind of solidified our friendship. We got so frustrated trying to solve one of the prop room puzzles. It was as soft as a petal that falls from a tree. The drier you get, the wetter I'll be. I still remember it to this day. Still gets stuck in my head. She and I spent, I want to say, a good hour trying to solve it. Back when this game, early on, back in 2000, 2001, trying to solve this. And it's a memory that sticks with me. So for me, this game has to be S tier. And it might be solely for the nostalgia factor, but it is what it is. Next one is Message in a Haunted Mansion. This one takes place in a mansion, obviously, and supposedly haunted. And if I remember straight, it's being fixed up, and you get called in to help out with fixing it up. And I'm going to be honest, this game, it's good. It's got some good aspects to it, but it never truly caught me. I have barely any notes on it. This has a lot of Hanzi letters. I'm debating if I'm going to do B tier or C tier. I feel like I'm going to do C tier on this just because I also remember the very first time I ever tried to play the game. I never finished it. The only time I finished the game was in these playthroughs, these videos. I never finished it the first time I played it. I fell out of it. I don't know what it was about the game, but it didn't fully catch my attention. I enjoyed it more now. Maybe it was just too difficult for me back when I first tried to play it. So that's why I think I'm going to go C tier with it. It didn't truly pull me in. The next one is Treasure in the Royal Tower, and I can already tell you that this is going to be A tier. This game. Treasure in the Royal Tower is another one that has a nostalgia factor for me. Played it with a friend first before I fully played through it myself. And when I think of Nancy Drew, that's one of the games that pops into my head. I don't label it as S tier. I don't think it lives up to those three that are up there in the S tier right now. But it's still absolutely amazing. And it's definitely going to be A tier for me. The next one, C tier. Now, the reason I put it in C tier is because it has grown on me over the years. But the final scene is my Niagara Falls. I don't know if anyone will catch that reference. It's an Abbott and Costello reference. I never finished the final scene when I first played it. I got all the way up to the end game, and then I got so mad because I didn't know what I was supposed to do or where I was supposed to go, because it was so confusing that I just that was my first rage quit. The final scene was my first rage quit ever. This is back when it was first released. I want to say 02, maybe 03. It was my first rage quit ever. As a child, I was done. I do respect it a little bit more now that I'm older. I do see the good aspects of it and the things that I do enjoy about it, which is why it's not in the D tier with Midnight in Salem. But God, it's my rage quit game. It's my Niagara Falls. The next one, Secret of the Scarlet Hand. Ah, yes, that is the one in the museum. And I think one of our first introductions to Sunny June. One of the things that I love about Secret of the Scarlet Hand is you get to learn a lot about Mayans, like ancient Mayans, Mayan culture, Mayan terms. However, I will say certain things about Secret of the Scarlet Hand are difficult. I lucked out because I already had my old notes. So I just used my old notes, but like the fact that you have to go back and forth to solve the quizzes that are in the temple that they have in the museum in order to get like deeper into the temple, like it's just so frustrating to have to go back and forth and back and forth. Now granted, in my playthrough on my video I didn't do that, but again it's because I had my old notes and I didn't want it to be, you know, another hour and a half longer on the videos, just solely due to the fact that I was trying to find all of these answers. So I'm not a big fan of that aspect of it. But I do love the historical aspect of it. And I think because of that balance, this is going to be our first B tier. Yeah, that's going to have to be our first B tier, is Secret of the Scarlet Hand. Next one, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. I kind of remember this one. This one does not stand out. This one, yeah, you have to go to the forest to find things. You're like trapped at like a cabin that's supposedly haunted by these ghost dogs. You can go to like a store using a boat. And a lot of stuff in the house relate to the dogs' names. And I'm remembering all of this as I look at the notes, but I want to be honest. Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake is not one that like completely stands out in my head when I think of it. So I think it's going to be another just mid B tier, just solely due to that. Next up, we've got the Haunted Carousel, and my dog's bored. Shush. Shush. The Haunted Whoa. Hello. Ah. The Haunted Carousel. How do I feel about the Haunted Carousel? I feel like this is going to be another mid-tier. Partially because of this. You had to learn stenography and shorthand for the game. And it was just so confusing to figure that part out. I'm also not a big fan of creepy dummies or like creepy creature thingies that just sit there. Yeah, I think this is just another mid-tier for this one. It's the one that doesn't really stand out in my head. Danger on Deception Island, though, the next one. I definitely remember this one. This is the one with the orca, where you are trying to help the orca. Yeah, this one's actually really cool. I do like this one. I love that you go to the lighthouse, and that's right, you have some things with some flags in this one, in Danger on Deception Island. This is one again that I think Nancy Drew, and I think of this one. It had some good puzzles, nothing so complicated that you're like, what? But nothing too easy either. Like, it did require you to think, but not think to the point of rage quitting. Yeah, no, I think Danger on Deception Island is going to go up to A tier here. I think it's a really good one. And the next one, I can already tell you, Secret of Shadow Ranch is going up in S tier. I know a lot of people complain about Secret of Shadow Ranch just solely due to the vegetables. But honestly, I've never really had that complication with the vegetables one. And I really, really love so many aspects of Secret of Shadow Ranch. It's up there. It's S tier for me. I love this one. I love the ending of it and how you have to trap the bad guy who is... I don't know if I should reveal it. I don't know if everyone's watching this has played all the games. But yeah, I love it. And I love like the mystery and the history of it too. Like the little story of all of these things being hidden for love. Secret Shadow Ranch is up there, and it might be me being a little biased because I do live in a desert landscape. I think it takes place in Arizona. I live in New Mexico, but Arizona is kind of our sister state, literally, because we became a state literally one day before Arizona became a state. So we're basically sister states. We have a lot in common. We also have our differences. Arizona has a saguaro cactus. We're slightly different type of desert. We're I want to say Mexico's Chihuahuan desert. And Arizona's Sonoran desert, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So we have our differences for sure, but we also still have just so much in common. Like I can talk to somebody from Arizona and talk about, going up to the little old lady and her son with the trunk open in their car to get specific food. I sound like I'm walking up to a drug dealer. No, it's not. I swear, it's food. But like I can talk about that with someone from Arizona. We can talk about other kinds of foods that just relate to one another. So Arizona's our sister state. And so a lot of the stuff that it does in Shadow Ranch, talking about there's a rattlesnake in it, and all that kind of stuff. Like I think there's like scorpions in it and stuff. Like we have that here too. Like I've been this close to a scorpion before. I hate them. I've killed a scorpion by stepping on it with my shoe before. I've seen a rattlesnake in the wild and slowly backed away because the whole reason they rattle is to let you know, hey, I'm here, go away. So as long as you slowly back away, rattlesnakes are not going to attack. They are not, what's the word? Aggressive. Rattlesnakes are not aggressive. They are defensive. So if you don't listen to their warning, you're going to get bit. As long as you listen to their warning, they're not going to bite you. So I've been close to that. So yeah, so Secret of Shadow Ranch just it touches me. It's a game. It's my sister state. All right. Next up, Curse of Blackmore Manor. That's a really good one too. The one thing with it that feels weird is that I'm pretending to be a student. I feel like by this point in the game, Stancy's got to be in her early 20s, but it's kind of like animated. Just go, what is The Simpsons? It's been on for like 30 plus years and the kids have never aged. It's like that. I really like Blackmore Manor, where we had to figure out what's going on. Why are girls getting sick, going to the hospital, or just straight up leaving? What is happening at the school? There's some music stuff. So I think this is the right one, right? Am I thinking of the right one? No, I'm not. That's a later game. That's Waverly Academy that I'm thinking of. Well, I know that Waverly Academy is going up there, and obviously maybe this one won't be. Blackmore Manor. Oh, wait. Oh, Blackmore Manor, is that the one with the little girl that's super creepy? And knows a lot about her family history and makes you play a bunch of board games? And then there's oh my god, this is the one with the bird. I hate that bird. I'm going C tier. Go away. Stupid bird. Secret of the Old Clock. Moving on. Actually, Secret of the Old Clock was really cool. It was the first one to do any kind of driving thing where you actually had to travel yourself. It brought in some references to Shakespeare, which I studied some Shakespeare in college. I originally studied to be an English teacher. Now I'm a business teacher, but I still have all of those skills from teaching English for a little bit. That's right. You also got to get some hobo language, which is a real thing. I don't know if they used accurate hobo language, but it's a real thing that hobos would mark stuff to be like, this is a safe place or this is not a safe place. No, this one was actually really good. I love Secret of the Oak Clack. We're going A tier on that one. Already ranked Last Train in Moon Canyon, so next up is Danger by Design. My dogs are going crazy in the other room. Danger by Design. This is the one. Is it in France, I think? In a. What is that thing called? I forget what it's called. Like an old cotton mill or something like that? Man, I don't remember. But yeah, you have to do some like fashion design stuff. I think you have to get cockroaches at one point. And the woman you're working for is like wearing a mask. This is another Sunny June one. This one was kind of mid, I'd say. Like, there's aspects of it I definitely remember, and then there's other aspects of it that just don't stand out. So, debating, we're just gonna go mid on that one. Oh, this goes with the next one. Wow. This is my old school notes on, like, some weird card. For the next game, which is Creature of Kapu Cave. Is this the one where we have the Hardy Boys? I think we have the Hardy Boys and we have to like make necklaces with them. Yeah, if I remember straight, if this is the one I'm thinking of, yeah, and I think we have to like sneak into the one place with like the plants that they're doing, and it's like affecting bananas, I think, or something. Yeah, I really felt like they could have done more with the Hardy Boys in that one, if it's the one I'm thinking of. I'm probably gonna have to go C tier for Kapu Cave. The next one, though, I definitely remember the next one, White Wolf of Icicle Creek. That one's a lot of fun. White Wolf of Icicle Creek was a lot of fun. I love when you finally actually get to meet the wolf. She's so sweet. But also the kid that attacks you, like, she's annoying, but at the same time, I kind of love that she's so innovative. She's just bored. She's just bored. Yeah, you got some pretty good puzzles in this one. You have interesting characters that you talk to. You have to do the maid work, but what I like about it is that the maid work doesn't take up so much time that you feel limited for everything else. As well as the same with the kitchen work in it as well. And I love exploring, and I also love the fact that it's like this place is so cold that you need to keep that in mind as you're traversing through it, because you could freeze. You could get hypothermia. Like, I think there was another Nancy Drew game where you're in the freezing cold. I think it's this one right here. What's the name of it? I can't remember the name of it. We'll get there when we get there. But it was also like that, but they didn't do that same kind of limitation of the cold. And I felt like that was a shortfall of that one. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go A tier on White Wolf of Icicle Creek here. Legend of the Crystal Skull up next. Legend of the Crystal Skull is one that is like very, very puzzle heavy, sometimes a little too puzzle heavy, and can get frustrating because of that, though I love the fact that it takes place in, I believe, New Orleans. And you also play Bess, which gives it a really cool one-up. It does have that really obnoxious puzzle in the store, which is the something machine. Basically, it's a physics thing where this affects that, to eventually do this. And I felt like that was just kind of ridiculous. So I'm going to go B tier because of that. And actually, I think I'm going to move Danger by Design down, the more I think about it. If that one's mid-tier, Danger by Design goes down. Yeah. Yeah, so I enjoyed Legend of the Crystal Skull to an extent, but it sometimes was just too much. Phantom of Venice, very easy for me to choose. That is going to be a C tier. Why? Because of the dancing, because of the obnoxious laser puzzle. Like, it had its positives, and I love the fact that it was in Italy, because I'm Italian on my father's side, but like, ugh. And it just felt like it kind of mixed and matched some things that just didn't track. Yeah, that one's C tier. That one is C tier. I don't know if I'm going to put anything else in D tier. If anything else we're going to be, there'd be Phantom of Venice, honestly. You know what? No, it is going to go down there. Castle Malloy is our next one. The Haunting of Castle Malloy. Which I love. I love Castle Malloy. Like, I can't even think of anything negative. I love the creepy witch thing, and I love that she's not even really a witch. She's like, she's somebody that went missing eons before, and you're like, wait a minute, you're still alive? What? And you need some help. Like, it's great. I love the fact that, like, there's a creepy haunting of this old castle who turns into, like, nuclear warheads. You're like, what? Where did this come from? But at the same time, like, the story makes it make logical sense. Because the guy who owned the place was hired to do experiments and stuff. And you're like, oh, I guess this makes sense. This tracks. Yeah, no, Castle Malloy is definitely up there for me. I really, really love Castle Malloy. There's a lot of positives to it. Debating if it's S tier or A tier, though. I'm going to put it in A tier for now. It might bump up to S tier. No, I think I'm going to keep it as, Like, thinking, like, if I were to replay a Nancy Drew game again, would I replay Malloy? I think I would. No, we're going to keep it as A tier, because it can get complicated. The next one is Ransom of the Seven Ships, which I have notes for. I did play it at some point in my life, but I do not remember it. And we could not play it again. We had to skip it because it apparently had blackface in it, I guess. That's what I was reading. So they kind of pulled it, and you can no longer play it again. So with that, and being unable to remember the game when I originally played it, and I don't have access to it, I'm going to have to put it just under unplayed, because I just don't have enough of a memory to rank it. Which brings us to the next one, which is the one I thought was the earlier game, which is Warnings at Waverly Academy. That is the one that I really like. What was the other one that I was like, wait, what? It was this one in the C tier. The bird. That bird. You know what? I'm dropping it down. It's because of the bird. But Waverly Academy definitely goes up here. It is up there for sure. I think the only thing I dislike is that you have to do the snack bar so much. Like, I think it would have been more interesting if, like, the chores, like, rotated and you had to do, like, other things instead of always doing the snack bar. But it is what it is on that snack bar. But I really love a lot of that game. So that one's definitely up there. Next one as well is probably going to be up there. Trail of the Twister. That one had a lot of driving in it. I think the most frustrating part of Trail of the Twister was driving to try and track certain tornadoes. And it was really hard to do that. But yeah, that's the one where you're pulled in to be a part of the tornado chasing team. You also had to try and learn a lot about, like, the ranking system of them, which I actually thought was really cool. But there were also some more complicated things that I felt was a little much. So putting that one in A tier as well because of that. Shadow at the Water's Edge, our next one here. This one's pretty mid for me. This is the one where you go to Japan, I want to say. And you're staying at this place that's apparently haunted. But you go there just to teach, and then you just kind of run into this. And it's not actually haunted. It's a whole thing. There's a jump scare that I hate. The only thing that I can, like, truly remember enjoying about Shadow at the Water's Edge was all of the Sudoku and those things that you get to do to unlock stuff. But even then, there were so many that trying to earn that trophy for the end of the game got kind of frustrating. So I think I'm going to put that one as a C tier. No. I want to do C tier or B tier. not the lowest of the low for sure, but it's not up there. No, I think I'm gonna keep it as C tier. The Captive Curse. Oh, it's the one with all the German. So much German. That's the one with that obnoxious game. Yeah, you're staying at a castle in Germany. I will say though, like, the story itself was actually really intriguing. I like where it ended up. I love how they tied in the characters that were in the castle, especially the older lady. I just really got very, very frustrated with that game that you have to play in it. So I think that puts it as a B tier because of that, because it just gets so annoying because you, like, have to beat the game. I don't mind when it's like, you need to play this game in order to move on. I'm like, cool. But in order to have to beat the game, this one did that too. The Blackmore Manor game, it did that same thing too, where you had to beat the game to continue on. And I don't like that. So that's why it's going to be B tier. So, like, because it balances in the end. Because there's some really, really good stuff in Captive Curse too. The next one is Alibi in Ashes, which that's it for my notes. Alibi in Ashes is where Nancy is not convicted, accused of setting fire to a building. She's working out of the police station while she's sending her friends to do stuff, which I actually really liked that. I thought that was a unique idea. I feel like they could have done more with that. I like that we get to actually see where she's from. We get to see River Heights and explore it a little bit, and there's different places you can travel to. I do feel that the story kind of fell flat a little bit, especially towards the end. The bad guy was pretty obvious. But I really liked all those puzzles, so I think it's going to go in B tier. I feel it's a good balance between the stuff it lacks and the stuff it's positive on. Tomb of the Lost Queen is our next one. Which, to be honest, like, this is one of the closer games that I would have played, and it doesn't stand out in my head that much. It brings in a lot of stuff with Egypt. It actually references Sunny June, weirdly enough. And the alien people that he believes in. But yeah, there's a lot of the game that I'm just not able to grasp in my head and actually remember. It doesn't stand out as much as you'd think it would. Which I think is going to place it in C tier. Because I do remember, like, parts of it being really enjoyable. But it also doesn't stand out. So, like, yeah. The next one, Deadly Device, is... where do I want to put it? I think I gotta go S tier with Deadly Device, to be honest. I really enjoyed Deadly Device. It's a lot of fun. Might be a little biased because I'm a huge fan of Nikola Tesla, and I absolutely hate Edison, and I really liked that the game kind of called out their relationship a little bit, and the fact that Nikola Tesla was definitely the smarter of the two. He was able to invent more. He did more, and to be honest, like, he essentially created Wi-Fi before the existence of Wi-Fi. Nikola Tesla was amazing, and if anyone had been willing to finance his stuff, we would be in a much better place technologically, I think. We'd be more advanced. The problem was that Tesla was not a businessman, so we don't get that. Instead, Edison was the businessman, took all that finance, did much lesser in the world of technology and inventions, and was just a sleaze who stole stuff. He didn't even technically invent the light bulb. Somebody else did, and then he just... I think it was somebody that he hired to work for him, so he took the credit. I can't stand Edison, and I love the fact that this game kind of called that out, and you get to learn a lot about Tesla and what he did, and just how much more advanced we could be if we had, or if at the time people had financed him and put more into his ideas and his thoughts. I'm just a huge fan of Tesla, and I love that they did that. I also felt that the mystery was intriguing. It gave you a lot to consider for each of the potential bad guys. Because you're like, well, this person has a motive for this, and that person has a motive for this, and this person has a motive for that. Like, everybody had a motive for killing the guy with the Tesla coil in the lab. Everybody had a motive. And so I just like that it made it more complicated to figure out who the bad guy was, and I feel like it had a decent balance with puzzles as well. And it all like made logical sense for the puzzles that existed, which is something that I like. So yeah. What is this ad? Oh, Marvel Rivals. Can I turn off this ad? Ha 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 ha. Okay. Our next game is Ghost of Thornton Hall. Oh, that's right, this one. This one's going S tier. I can already tell you this one's going S tier. Thornton Hall, I got into it. It was so good. I didn't want to stop playing. So much fun. I loved all of the different characters. Ghost of Thornton Hall is the one where you go to. It's a large house on an island. It's kind of in disrepair at this point, but it's been passed down through generations. There was supposed to be a wedding. The bride has gone missing, and you're trying to find her and figure out what's going on. Turns out she went missing on purpose, which I love. I love that it wasn't like there was nothing nefarious going, like nothing super nefarious going on. It was just her learning about her family's history and being like, no, this is not okay. And it was so good. I just didn't want to stop playing Thornton Hall. So that one is top tier. That one is definitely up there. This actually might be my second favorite NCG game. Yeah. That one is great. What is happening with these? Okay. The next one is The Silent Spy, where we get to learn about Nancy's mother's history. And I'm going to be honest, kind of fell flat. I don't think they did her mother dirty, which is good, because the books never really talk about her mother. All these books are all Nancy Drew books up here on this top shelf, and there's more behind them. I have 62, 64 books, basically all the way up until it kind of changed how it was written into a more modern style. Because Carolyn Keene, the author, it's a pseudonym. It was different authors that wrote it. There was a point where the writing style they're a little different in each book anyway, because it is ghostwriters, but there was a point where it changed just too much for me. It was too modern, too weird, wasn't a fan. But regardless, unless one of the newer books that I've never read talks about her mother, they left her mother out of it. Her mother had passed, and that was that. So it felt kind of weird to pull in that story. The mystery as a whole was interesting. I liked some of the things that he did. But again, I just don't know how I feel about bringing in her mother. I feel like it would have been more interesting if it didn't involve her mother, to be honest. I kind of like that Nancy's mother passed, and that is that. And we leave it there. So I think I gotta put it in C tier because of that. So the game itself is great. Its story element just bothers me. Next we have the Shattered Medallion, which I can already tell you is a C tier. You know what, honestly, no, it's a D tier. I was so excited for it at first because Sunny June was going to be in it, but the gameplay, the things that you had to do, it was really frustrating to try and solve this mystery while also trying to do this stuff for the game show, but you can't get kicked off the game show, so you have to do game show stuff in order to do the mystery. But if you go past this point, then these things get locked, and I didn't like that. I just didn't like that. And Sunny June, I don't know, didn't quite live up to the hype, I guess. So yeah. And clippy these back together. So many games. Coming up on our last few games here, we have Labyrinth. That is Labyrinth of Lies, right? Yeah. Labyrinth of Lies, which I'm going to put it in a B tier. It was kind of meh. For me, there were things that I liked. There were things that I didn't like. I do felt that aspects of it were just too complicated. I remember playing it, and at one point I literally had to like look up what I needed to do, because like I had checked everything off, and every time I did like the hint thing, it wasn't really helpful. So like I literally had to like look up a walkthrough to be like, where do I need to go to unlock the next step, to do the next thing? And that's not okay when you have to do that. So it's mid. It's just mid. I do like the fact that everyone was the bad guy, though. That was a nice twist. Next one, this is the one I was referencing earlier, which is Sea of Darkness. I loved a lot of parts of Sea of Darkness. I loved exploring the ship and trying to figure out the puzzles. Where's this treasure and blah, blah, blah. I loved exploring this, I think it was Norwegian town. I really liked that the one character that they kept, like, putting the red herring on ended up just being a misunderstood man who lost his family. I think there were some elements that they could have added to make it better. Like, I think it would have been cool if they'd done, like, White Wolf and have the whole you can't be out in the snow for X amount of time, or, like, in the ice caves for X amount of time without freezing. And some of the stuff, this was another one where I kind of got stuck to the point of, like, I don't know where to go or what to do to unlock the next step. And I think for both of them, part of it was I had to, like, call people, and I was like, I should not be required to call people. If there needs to be a phone call, it needs to be they call me, not me call them. So that was frustrating. So I think because of that, it's going to go B tier. That balance there. Midnight in Salem, we already ranked. It is D tier. It is the lowest of the low. It is not enough puzzles, too much dialogue. Like, literally, all my notes on here are literally just for that, like, tea stuff. And I didn't even do that much with it. Lame. And the last one. The game that I literally just finished yesterday, Mystery of the Seven Keys. I'm honestly debating S tier or A tier for this one. And there's a reason why I'm putting it up there. Number one, I like the fact that it's longer, but it doesn't feel longer. Like, some of these games, they took so long because, like the one game, the museum. Where is it? Where is the museum? This one, right here, in the B tier. That game, if I hadn't used my cheat notes, it would have taken so long to find all those answers. And it's just not fun when you're just going back and forth trying to find answers to questions. Like, literally, if I pull up my old notes again, if I were to pull those out, it's literally an entire note card worth of me writing down the questions and writing down the answers. And I remember when I was doing that initially, and it was just this constant back and forth. It was so frustrating to get done, which is why I just cheated when I played it this time, and I just used my old notes because I knew it was going to take forever. When it came to Mystery of the Seven Keys, it was nothing like that. There was no back and forth. It was just, we put enough in here and we stretched out the story enough with a good balance of time that we can make it a little bit longer. And I thought that was great. The reason I'm thinking A tier instead of S tier is because of my inability to understand alchemy. There's a lot of alchemical stuff, a lot of things you had to do with the alchemy table that was very, very confusing to me. And apparently I also can't read it correctly because I mixed up lead and iron. So the alchemy stuff, that is a fault on me, though. I am just not good with science-y things, and alchemy is an aspect of science. Barring that, though, I really enjoyed it. I wish I would have taken the time to find more of the cards. I just didn't look around enough to find all the cards. It would have been cool to do that and see the outcome of that. Like, if I give those to Leo, like, what does he say? What happens? Like, that would have been really cool. I love the fact that you could pet the cat. That definitely bumps it up in my book, for sure. I loved that even though there were more characters, similar to some of the other games, some of the newer games where they started adding a little bit more characters, it didn't feel like more. Like, I know that kind of sounds weird, but, like, when I think about the Nancy Drew games, there's some games where I'm like, they just had too many characters. And with this one, I was like, no, they're the same as before, right? Oh, no, there were more characters. huh. But they just had a nice balance between all those characters. I loved that you had like a suspect list with notes for each suspect. I actually really liked that. Where you clicked tab and it brought up like your phone with all of your notes in it and stuff. I thought that was a really cool update to the notebook and task list. Because it also had like messenger in there with the phone and all had it in one place. I enjoyed the WASD. It was hard to get used to. I did forget about it a lot because it is new, but I thought it was great, and I think it's a really good step in the right direction to be able to bring Nancy Drew games to console, which would be awesome. I'd love to play the next Nancy Drew game. I'll probably still play it on my computer on Steam, but like using a PlayStation controller, that would be so interesting. Like, what could I do? They could eventually like pull in almost some Uncharted aspects. Not to the extent of Uncharted. Nancy is not Uncharted. But like they could do a little bit more action-y things by updating it like this. And I feel like this is a good step in the right direction for that. I loved that you had a little bit of night and day in there. But it didn't feel that forced. You just had that haunted thing where you could jump to night. I love that it did have some jump scares, that creepiness with the night following you, and you're like, oh gosh, if I'm gonna get caught if I don't run. But you could still go back to those areas and explore them later. I mean, really, I don't have a lot of negative to say about Mystery of the Seven Keys. I did feel it was too much alchemy, but again, that might just be on me because I'm bad at alchemy and sciencey things. I do feel like there were some characters they could have done a little bit more with. I did like the texting. I thought that was really cool, that you could go in and text. I do feel like it needs to be a little bit more obvious when you need to text or call somebody, because sometimes that was the next step and I couldn't figure it out. And then I'd like look it up and be like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to text somebody. Oops. So I do think that needs to be a little bit more obvious, but I feel like Mystery of the Seven Keys is a really, really good step in the right direction. A lot of people complained about the coffee. That was like the one thing I knew going into the game was you had to do like latte art. And a lot of people complained about it. I felt it was whatever. It was similar to some of the other like food games of past games. Like those food mini games. Heck, even Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. You got to make the burgers and stuff. So yeah, that's why I'm really debating S tier or A tier, just due to that sheer fact of the alchemy. But yeah, I don't have any complaints about the latte art. That was whatever for me. Once you got the hang of it, it was pretty simple. A tier or S tier? I think I'm gonna go A tier because that alchemy stuff was just, it was a little much. And again, that might just be a me thing on the alchemy. But no, I really do feel that they're going in the right direction with Mystery of the Seven Keys. Midnight in Salem was such a disappointment that Mystery of the Seven Keys really, it dug Nancy Drew out of that hole that Midnight in Salem put in there. They did a very, very good job. I don't quite put it as S tier, but it's still up there in that A tier. So this is my ranking here. S tier, A tier, B, C, and D tier. There's not a lot done in that D tier, just those 4 games that I feel fall flat. And I did have to put the one game in unplayed just because it is entirely unavailable and I don't remember what it was like when I originally played it eons ago when it first dropped. So yeah, I might look at the community rank on my own here in a bit out of sheer curiosity how other people have ranked these. But you definitely put in the comments below, do you agree with my ranking? Do you disagree? Why? What would you change? What would be your change on this ranking right here? Do you feel one of my D tiers is better than I claim, or do you feel one of my S tiers is not as good as I claim? Everyone's different. Everyone has different opinions. Like I said, Mystery of the Seven Keys, my big downfall on it that pushes it to the A tier is that alchemy. Maybe you thought the alchemy was great. You loved it. You enjoyed it, and it wasn't difficult for you because you have more of a sciencey brain. But maybe you hated the latte art, then I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. So tell me, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you agree or disagree with my ranking? I will be playing Beyond Two Souls next. I've already played Detroit Become Human multiple times. I finally got what I consider to be the perfect ending, so I don't know if I'll touch that game again because I don't want to mess that up. I don't want to mess up my perfect ending on Detroit Become Human. Beyond Two Souls is made by the same exact creators. I've been told it's also really good, so I'm going to play that next. After that, I'm currently in debates. I've got Adamfall on the list. I've got Avowed, Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws, and Life is Strange. I believe are the 4 big games that I'm currently looking at to play after Beyond Two Souls. If you want to see one of those 4 games played, please drop it in a comment below, and I will play that game next. Or after Beyond Two Souls, I should say. And then if you have enjoyed all of my Nancy Drew games and you're excited to see me shift off into other games and see where this channel goes after this, make sure you click subscribe, be involved, post in, is there a community, do I have a community section right now? I have no idea. I don't know, I don't have that many followers right now, but subscribe, help build my following, and tell me what games you want to see me play in the future. If you want to see me do any kind of reaction videos to shows or movies, let me know as well. I don't know how to edit that kind of stuff, but I'll figure it out. And then, of course, click like if you liked me ranking the Nancy Drew games. I tried to make it a little bit of a review/rank so you understood why. This video looks like it's going to be slightly less than an hour long. I didn't want this to be that long anyway. It's just a ranking video. But yeah, so comment. Tell me your opinions. Subscribe. Suggest games for me to play in the future. And click like if you enjoyed watching my ranking video and hear me rant about some games and praise others. And as usual, I'm still going to end with this. As usual, don't plagiarize. Don't be the kid in Secrets Can Kill. Don't plagiarize. Just don't do it.